On the left side of the screen here, we're going to go in and use the pencil tool. That's what we're going to want here. So I'm going to go right into here. You'll see this pencil with a circle on it. It's called the shaper tool. If I click and hold on that, I bring up pencil tool. That's what I want is my pencil. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to my fill and my stroke, and I'm going to turn those off. So here goes. So I'm going to click on the fill, hit the red slash for the box, hit the stroke here, and I'm going to hit the red slash the box there, turn that off. Now with just the pencil here, I'm going to zoom in. There we go. And I'm going to go ahead and draw. Now what I have to do is that I'm going to choose arbitrarily where the shadow is going to be. So let's say that the shadow is going to be on the underside, or the light source is going to be up above. So I'm going to do is that on the objects here, I'm going to start to draw in some shadow lines here. So I'm going to start off with right here is, let's say there's a shadow coming right off of there. And what you have to do with the shadow is that you are basically drawing a line that connects over the other objects, the other lines. I got one there. Let's go ahead and finish this one up here. And this one comes down and up, and down and up, down and up, and down and up. And let go of that one. That's one that's on there. Now what I have to do is basically the line that's on there. I turned off the fill and stroke because I have to group these together with all the lines that are on the page. So I'm going to use the white arrow here, and I'm going to select, click, and drag a box around the entire object. Remember, notice now I did not use the black arrow. This is really important. Use the black the black arrow. You'll select everything on the stage. You don't want that. You just want the one object. So I clicked on just the white arrow and I selected. You notice that everything on the bug is highlighted, including my new line. What I want to do now is I want to merge them together. Okay, I want them to lock together. And to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go to Object and Expand. Okay, Object Expand. I get a pop-up window that comes up, and I'm going to say OK to that pop-up window. Boom. Now that is just expanded and basically said, old lines and new lines which are closed, I want you to open up and see each other and join. Okay, and that's what's happening. So now what I'm going to go ahead and just click off to the side, and I'm going to add myself another couple of lines here. So I go back into my pencil tool, and I'm going to go ahead and add a shadow onto the eye, right? I kind of bring that over, and make sure I draw my line, I cross over past areas here. I don't want to go from just inside to inside. I want to pass this line over. Remember, the line is invisible. You're just using it as a demarcation. So now I'm going to put a little shadow like it's coming off the wing here. So I'll go ahead and put a little shadow coming off of this. Maybe there's a little shadow coming off of this right here. Let's say that there's a little shadow coming down the inside of the legs. So here's what I can do here. I can actually start right here and draw halfway through right there, halfway through right there, and then release. And then come back over here, do the same kind of thing. Let's see if I wanted to do it. Let's see. Maybe I want to do it on this leg over here. Let's go ahead and I'm going to start up here, down, over, over, and down. And the last one, right there. So now if I go back in, let's hit that the white arrow, and let's select the whole object along with this. And notice there's all my new lines. So my new lines on the legs, my new line on the eye and on the wing, those have all been selected. So now what I need to do is go ahead and with them all selected, and notice the other areas over here, they're not selected, just this space. I'm going to go ahead and once again go to Object and Expand. And Object Expand will break them all together. Now, there's one other thing you do now to be able to go back in and change the colors on there. We want to go back to and say Object, Live Paint, Make. So you always have to expand it first, which tells the old lines and new lines to open up and see each other. And then you go back after that process and you go back into Object again. But this time you go down to Live Paint and Make. That means you want to make this ready for painting. You want to get it ready for painting. So I'm going to click on that. Now, if I click off to the side here, I go back to my paint bucket, which you remember, it's underneath the Shape Builder tool. If you still have that open there, you can go back underneath it there and grab your live paint bucket. And if I move that bucket over the objects, you see how I can see the areas are hot. They're red, ready for areas. But you notice how the bottom spot, like down here, here, and over here, basically have those shadow areas set up, ready to go. All I have to do is drop color in. So how do I do that? Well, I want to go ahead and use some of the colors that are already local to that area, but just make a slightly darker version of it. So I'm going to use my eyedropper, okay? And I'm going to select, say, this color right here as my base. Then I'm going to double click it, opens up my color picker. I'm going to go a little bit darker with that. So here's a slightly darker version of it. And I'm going to go ahead and drop that in. And I'm going to use my paint bucket and drop that color in. But I'm going to go to just the lighter areas, just the areas where it applies. Oops, wrong one on that one. Want this one right there. And this one right there and right there. And the other ones are going to be a different color. So for this one, I think it's a little bit of shadow right there on that one. Okay, so now I have to go back in, select my color again. So this time I'm going to go and use my my eyedropper again. And my eyedropper, I'm going to select the darker color, this one. And now I've got that color up here. So I'm going to double click and take that color down. Say okay. And now I'm going to go ahead and back with my paint bucket. I can drop that color into there. So there's a darker one there, darker one there. Oops. With the bottom part right there. And I want this bottom right there. So see, I get those darker colors there, which is pretty nice. And there was also a little shadow right here under the wing. Remember correctly. There we go. Let's see, where else have I got some shadow? There's also shadow, I believe, on the eye. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and use my eyedropper again, sample the eye color. Then I'm going to go back in and let's see, let's double click it and make it a little darker. Okay. And come back up. Then I'm going to go back in now with my paint bucket once again and drop that color in. There we go. I got that darker color coming in there. So what else have we got here? So there, we've got the legs now next. So I'm going to go ahead and select the eyedropper, select the color of the leg, and then I have to go ahead and double click on that color I put in, go down to the color picker, right? Now I'm going to ask myself, do I want to go darker or lighter? I think I might want to go lighter and leave the dark area where it is and go light to there. So let's go a slightly lighter color. Let's go this one right here like this. And I'm going to actually drop those into the lighter side, which would be the upper area. Here, let's say this is lighter, let's say this is lighter, upper. There we go. And we're up there. Boom. There we go. I get a nice two-tone look to the shadows. And because that line was consistent, those shadows all seem to go together. They work well together. I can go ahead and make one more here if I wanted to. Let's go back in with my pencil, and I have to turn off the fill on that with that stroke. Right, I'm going to hit that red stroke, get that box with the red stroke through it, and I can go ahead and draw one. Let's make what's coming down for the eye here. So I'm going to start in the black, come down, all right, and come back up and in. Okay, and let's make one more up here, like it's got like a little bit of darkness coming off that shadow up there and coming in. Right there. You know, I'm not happy about that line. Let's try that again. I'll make that a little bit longer. There we go. I like that better. All right. So that looks pretty good. I think I want to put some shadow though, maybe up in here. I think I need a little bit of shadow, or maybe up here I want to go a little higher with some of those. So I think on this one here, let's go ahead and take this line. I'm going to make it pretty smooth and kind of go up and down. And up and down and then up, and I'll come back in here and bring it down like so and curve it. There we go. That's pretty good. I kind of like that right there. Made a little more depth than that. Maybe I'll come back into here and put a little bit down on this one too. Past that threshold. Now, once again, my white arrow, select everything. And I'm going to go ahead and go with Object Expand to break it open. If I get the expand panel pops up, say OK. So leave everything as it is. And then I'm going to go to Object and Live Paint Make. That's the second part, or last part. Then I go ahead and grab my paint bucket, and I can move over the object. See how they turn red? That means these areas are hot. They're ready for color. So I need to go ahead right now and just select some of the shadows I already made. So let's select this shadow here, which is my shadow for the lighter yellow. So I look at my paint bucket here. I'm going to go right into there and put it in. Right into here. One down there. And let's put this one right here. And right there. Oops. That space right there. And nothing right there. And I just got that darker one. So let's go ahead here, and I'm going to grab my tool and grab this shadow that's on the darker spot here. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my paint bucket and see where I've got some darker. Ah, there we go, right there. So there's a little one right there. Spot right there. Nice bigger one right there I had. Nothing on that one, but that is pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good about that. There we go. You see you can basically add more color to that with lights and shadows. If I want to go and add a highlight, I go ahead and use my pencil tool again, and I have to turn off the color by hitting the box with a red diagonal slash in it. And I can go down, maybe I want to add highlight to it. So I'm going to start over here on this edge and kind of round. I don't like that line. Let's try that again. Command Z that, and let's go here. Oh, didn't like that one either. Let's go here. Better. And then here. Boom. And here. Boom. And I can put one up in here. There. Right? Okay, I'll let go of that. Now I want to put one in back down over here. I don't have much of a highlight there, so I have a smaller one here. So let's say I have a little one going from over here into there, and then over here into there. And with the last one, it's already pretty much gone. Don't really have that anymore. I might put a little bit of a highlight in the eye. So let's go into this, this, and that. All right. So let me go ahead now with my white arrow and select all of them that are here. See all my new lines and old lines are selected, and go to Object, Expand. Break them up so they see each other. Say OK. And then I'm going to go to Object, Live Paint Make, which means I want to make them ready for painting. Boom. Now we click off to the side to turn all the arrows off. Click on the paint bucket, and you see I move it up here, and I've got these little areas set up. So now I can sample and make a lighter color. So I'll take the light, let's say the yellow, sample it, double click, and go a slightly lighter version of it. There we are. And I can go ahead now with my paint bucket and dump that, like say, this is the highlight for this color. So there it is there. I can put it there, put that there, a little bit there, see that? Okay, now I have to go in and make a highlight for the other color. So I'm gonna go ahead and back and use my paint dropper, select that color, and double click. And once again, slightly lighter color. That's a pretty good one right there. Make it like a little grayer maybe. Maybe not so much. There we go. And we'll put that in, and I'm going to go ahead and use my paint bucket and drop it into the highlight area there. There's 1, 2, and oh, that's the highlight for that one. That's right. That's a darker color there. Pretty good there. So I got my highlight. So it's a highlight. So I got the highlight on the eye. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and select the base color of the eye, and I will come down here and highlight it. And then I come back in and with my paint bucket, drop that color in. Look at that. So I'm starting to get some shading and some value. So this is what you can do for your character, for your creature. If you need to go back in and add some coloring, you got to put some highlights and shadows in there. I can see there's actually one last thing I want to do, and that is to go ahead and I'm going to grab my pencil and turn on my stroke here. That's no fill. And I want to actually put a shadow like that. A little bit of that yellow is coming in from around the thickness of that eye or that antenna. Boom, like this. Now when I go back in and white arrow only, select the whole thing. Let's go ahead and Object, Expand. So again, anytime you add a new line there or a group of new lines, you're ready to do it. You want to expand it and then Object, Live Paint Make, ready for painting. Now I'm going to go ahead and select with the eyedropper that little bit of highlight to call this yellow that's there. And I'm going to drop it in on the other side of that antennae. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my paint bucket, go right into there, boom. And that shows a little bit of that color, that light coming in, and that this is just the only thing that's casting the shadow, just that antennae. Now I can come back in and I can use things like the paintbrush, and I could draw in some highlights, say on top of the antennae there, put in some highlights into the wings, but that's something we can keep on doing, and you can add yours if you'd like to. So I'm going to go ahead and call it time on this one, but I just wanted to show you how you can use that pencil tool to go back in and delineate or divide areas so that you can put either highlight or shadow into your object to go ahead and give it a little bit more depth. All right, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go ahead and let you go ahead and go to it, go for it.